Hey everybody, it's Kenny K here, and I wanted to talk about my maybe second favorite, or at least top five favorite found footage movie called the 2013 The Borderlands, or aka The Final Prayer. Directed by Elliot Goldner. It gets a 5.8 on IMDb. Very good score for a found footage movie, and gets a 6.5 from me. Now, if you like the video, please like the video, subscribe. If you didn't, there's free, no worries. Now, let's start. This movie is about a team of two priests. One guy is called a realtor general or something. It's probably a sort of ranking in the Vatican. He's called Mark. Another guy, brother deacon, they say. It's his some kind of priest, I guess, deacon. And then you have a tech guy called Gray. Now this guy sounds and looks like John Oliver. He's funny. He's so funny, and it's not intentional that he's doing this. He's the comedic relief guy. No, he's just funny. The way he's acting, his mannerisms, and this makes for a great movie. A great first Gray and Deacon gets introduced in this cottage that they rented out, and the chemistry between those two. Deacon is the quiet type, and Gray's like, it's bollocks, give me a fag. And he's driving fast, and Deacon is saying, Gray, there is an accelerator and you can push it off and down. What do you mean? I just want a fag. But so these guys go and investigate this claim from a priest called Krellick, and they have video of it. They made a video about it, and basically it's cool to see these guys going in action when they're researching things, and I'm guessing that these investigators really do exist, and it's cool to see that. But then they're it's a slow burn, but there are moments in the movie that are foreshadowing things towards the end, and I do say this has a really disturbing and unique ending. So they all have these like head cams on, like hyper modern head cams, so it's easy to always have on, because in a previous mission that Deacon was on, a lot of priests died unexplainable, and there were a lot of gaps. It was filmed but not enough, and now everything will be filmed except that they go to the toilet, of course, and drop a deuce. Now what happens is so there is a clue that there are all these Rottweilers around the church, wild Rottweilers, and they see this Rottweiler eating a small animal, and Gray says, that's life for you, Deacon, big things eating small things. And that's a clue, foreshadowing clue. Then there's another clue that I really didn't see, and somebody pointed it out to me, because it's a millisecond. Gray's outside smoking a fag, like he said. It's a British movie, so that's why he smokes a fag, right? Instead of cigarettes. And he sees a tombstone, and he says, here lies the body of died at the age of 66. And he says, not bad, I presume. And then he looks down again, and then you see, for a really small second, here lies the body of Gray Parkins, 2013, and he watches away. He doesn't see it, he doesn't notice it, and it's hard to see because the tombstone is gray, and the letterings are gray too, Yeah, his name is gray too, but I mean it's gray on gray, so it's hard to see. Uh, and he doesn't see that, and it's a again foreshadowing. There's also a moment that's super super creepy that Deacon believes that something is going wrong because Krellick is on the top of the church, Mark is going up, and meanwhile they have all these cameras. They looked for like sound woofers, you know, these to create sounds, everything that can be so they can be fake wirings or whatever. And they have this machine on so they can hear noises if there's some kind of, you know, subwoofer behind a wall, they will hear it. And then okay, they hear a baby crying, and Mark says it's possibly a baby monitor, and they put it off, and they hear the baby crying again. But Mark is now on the rooftop of the church where Krellick is, and Krellick says, if it's not a miracle, what am I praying for? And then he says, calm down. Says, and meanwhile in the church, like I said, they hear the babies, things start to fall down, things get bar, you know, and Krellick jumps and commits suicide. And that's a holy sin, especially for a priest. You go straight to hell. It's suicide is a sin anyways, but for these priests it's like a holy sin, you know. So then from there it gets creepy. So they, like, Deacon goes back because Mark wants to pack it in and go because he thinks it was just the ramblings of a depressed priest. No, he says there's something there. He goes there and he sees, like, in full dark, he sees like this apparition of Krellick going away, then standing there, and then when he's in the church he hears Krellick like praying. He goes in the hole. There's a hole where Mark, the janitorial guy, you know, the skeptic, he's actually a skeptic. He believes in science, not in miracles. So it's and Deacon, when he went in, Mark, he got this zap, and his ears were bleeding like hell, and they took him outside. Now, when he goes in, he hears Krellick's voice. Oh my God! Oh my God! Look at his eyes! Oh, Frazetti's eyes! Look at his eyes! And everything starts. So he gets the hell out of there. He calls Rome, the Vatican, and he calls his tutor, this high-ranking tutor, he called Priest Calvino, like the Da Vinci Code priest. He comes, it's all hush hush. He knows all the dirty secrets of the Vatican. They wanted to get they wanted to get rid of him for years, but he's buried in so deep that he knows so much. Everything they wanted to shirk under the holy carpet, he knows. So what's happening? Okay, they go to the church, and he says that the church was built. The church is not evil. The church was built on pagan grounds. And from a Google satellite photo, you can see this sort of symbol. Now, the Gray says, what is it, a demon then, or a spirit? And he says, two words for the same thing. He says, people praised us as the Antichrist, a pagan god, whatever. It's an evil that we have to abolish out of the church, you know, exorcise out of the church. So, because they also have this a diary of the priest before Krellick, Mandeville, and he opened a orphanage there in the church, a priest orphanage, you know, a church orphanage for babies. And he says at the end of his page, I may have have a new master now, and then it ends. And there it goes crazy. So I'm gonna spoil. If you never seen this movie, please watch it. If you're a found footage fan, please watch it. If you're not, it's a good horror movie. It's really well put together. It's a great story. It has great acting. Like I said, this guy Gray, Robin Hill is the actor's name. He looks like John Oliver. John Oliver from the Community and those late night shows that he does in America. He's like a comedian, but he's so funny. Gray it's unintentional funny. He's like an anarchist, you know, what you call it, somebody who doesn't care, like he's just going with his car, he's vamping, and then he just does a U-turn and then says yeah twit and then he goes. So it's great. He's great. Gray's great, but this is a good movie, I assure you. Look it up. Spoiler time. They are in the church. They're doing their ritual. Everything goes to shit. You see Calvino standing there. Oh, and he scratched out his eyes like Krellick yelled for the Zeddy's eyes. He couldn't cope what he sees. Mark is sitting against the wall, bleeding more out of his ears with open eyes. It's creepy. And then the creepy part, they go into this, like I said, where Mark and Deacon went into this like underground thing that leads to the underground, where the pagan god is. They find these little crates, little cages where the fucking babies were held in and fed to the pagan god. They have little baby skeletons, so it's pretty disturbing shit. And then they go deeper and deeper and deeper because they see Mark and Calvino trying to lure them somewhere in, and they get into this narrow cave, and it's moist and it's dirty, and Deacon says, I can't go any further, can you go back? He says, no, Grace says, I can't go back, it's closed. So what's happening is they went in the mouth of a pagan fucking god that probably is like 30 feet big. They fall in his stomach basically, and they are consumed by the stomach acid, dying a slow and painful fucking death. You see them dissolving, and they're and you hear Gray yelling, "You said it wasn't real! You said it wasn't real!" And because his tongue is hanging out, and then Deacon is praying for the gods in mighty. And his eyes fucking melting away. You see it constantly going forwards with their head cams until the head cams give up. Oh my god, how disturbing is that? They basically went in the mouth of the demon, and the demon swallowed them, and they became. So that's basically the clue. Gray and Deacon died there, so they died on the grounds underneath, and they're buried underneath. And remember when Gray said big things eating little things? Well, this is the same. A big thing eating two little things. And the Frazetti's eyes thing, Calvino's eyes, I mean, it's so great. It's so great and disturbing at the end. I couldn't. It's top 5. My favorite one is the Blair Witch Project, but this is definitely a second or third place. At least top 3. So give it a watch. Final Prayer, or aka the Borderlands. You can find it free on YouTube, Tubi, maybe, and I believe Dailymotion too, but Dailymotion has too much. Although Tubi has, the best bet is YouTube. You don't have the commercials constantly. So there you go. Look it up, and I'll if you you're gonna get, you'll be invested in the story. I guarantee you that. See you next.